Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. Forgive our debtors, as we forgive our debts. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive our trespassors. Forgive our trespassers, as we forgive our trespasses. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Jesus, in your name I pray for a very productive day. I pray that I do my work with great enthusiasm and intensity. And I do this from my heart. And so it is. Thank you. All right. Let's check the markets. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, you're not gonna beat that one. That's an exhaustion candle right there. Don't even try to fight it, you know? Okay, here's what it's coming down to. Obviously, you're not gonna do that in real life. Hmm. we go. This one right here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got to get the feel of this. How long do I want to be waiting for a setup here? Either which way, 4 hour and 1 hour. We could still do some pretty great things with this 4 hour and then one with the 1 hour. 6 days in the channel. If I look at that 4 hour, there's weakness on this huge, massive candle. Come on now. It's a massive ass candle. Mm. Interesting. Yeah, because this is red relative to what's on the right. That's why I do it like this. This is what's relative to what's on the right. Obviously, we just closed bullish from here, right? Strong bullish signal. So I should be waiting for the price to come down and then pop back up. That's what we should be waiting for. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right, next time frame down. Oh, this is interesting stuff. Hmm. Mm. Right. I think this is where now we're gonna have to say, all right, let's start really cutting it out now. 1 hour, 1 week, 4 hour, 15. Nope, gotta cut that out. Done. 1 week daily 4 hour. That's a possibility. 1 day 4 hour. That's a possibility. 4 hour, 1 hour, 15. That's a possibility, but it's too. I mean, you can't argue with 3 hours. In 3 hours, you're done. You know, that's pretty solid. Pretty solid. Every 3 hours, you're done. So that means I'm basically just taking a trade every potential hour versus every 2 hour versus every 4 hours versus every day. That's really what this comes down to. This is the weekly time frame. Strong bearish. Closing through. This is just retesting probably. Unless we close out in the next 13 hours. Right. A box will form every 12, could potentially form every 12 hours. So that means I'd have to check every day. So twice a day potentially. Either way, I will not be trading or taking a trade from the minutes time frame. I'm not going to be sitting here from the minutes time frame. I would set an alert. I would have to. I would have to set an alert then. There's like no other way. I'd have to set an alert in order to successfully do that. I really like the idea of the weekly, daily, the 4 hour. I like that I could just be up in here, you know, trading it. But then there's also that daily 4 hour, 1 hour. Yeah, I might have to say honestly, probably at this stage now, the 8 hour, 2 hour, and the 30. Probably. All right, let's open up Notion here. Let's open up Notion. Let's open up Trading Playbook. Oh, right. It's not because it's not there. It's here. Right. 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 Okay. And then the next one is going to be this one. It's going to be basically something like this. Take this, copy this, put it in there. And I just have to create the playbook basically. And this is where I got to think about whether or not it should be this high of a time frame or not. What is going on? Getting these ticks on me. Yeah, this is really out. This is really, really far out. This is very far out. But, but, big but, you cannot argue with this. You can't argue with that, you know? I still said four time frames here from this one. Weekly, daily, 4 hour, 1 hour. The daily is just telling me where the candle is going, and I'm just trying to trade it up. But that's still also what this is doing, you know? Let's go over here to the purple line or something like this. Let's go down to that 4 hour. All right, either way. Right. So this middle candle, this daily candle is just telling me what? This daily candle is just would potentially just tell me, it would just potentially tell me what direction we're going in relative to the previous day. That's all I'm seeing here. It's still the same shit. This is still stronger volume at this level right here. Even still, look. Even if you still wanted to do all that, that's still break and retest. And this took me how long? 4 days. 4 days I'm holding it. Then if that's the case, then I'd rather go down to a lower time frame, do the break retest thing. Then I still wouldn't need 4 time frames. It still would be excessive. So I would have to say that this would probably then be also a no-go as well. Damn, I'm really here in between these time frames here. Still, regardless, think 3 time frames and make it very easy on yourself, as easy as you can possibly make it. Think 3. It still would have been fun though. Look. Because that's all I'm doing here. I'm taking it to these levels right here. I'm getting it as tight as possible to these levels. Five days. 3 days. Like 10 hours. The idea is to show up as little as possible, but still do what I got to do here for the trading. I'm thinking in terms of hours. 3 hours, 5 hours, etc. That's what I'm thinking about. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's no doubt about it. If you go with the 4 hour, the 1 hour, and the 15, you're going to execute off of the 1 hour. You're going to hold a position for less than a day at this, like this. That is pretty obvious here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just got to mind the stop losses and all that stuff. But yeah, you're holding on to a position for less than a day. That's for sure. That's for sure. The thing that I'm concerned with is how do I hold? Okay, we're going in here. The thing that I'm concerned with is how do I hold long enough? Mm-hmm. There you go. Hmm. That's also a setup too. Is basically you have this guy over here like this, and then when you see it go to the top, it's gonna test, come back down. Let's go to that 2 hour. Let's see what happens here. There's your trade right there. Back in here. Then that's a bearish engulfing candle too. Check it out. Mm-hmm. Bearish engulfing. Oh. Yep. Look at the high. 13503. 13. Oh, there's the same high. 13503. 13503. Okay, interesting. Well, still, in terms of this, just take this guy right over here. That's it. That's another kind of move right there. All right, either way, let's go back. Focus. Yeah, this is the thing that I don't want to fall into, is doing this constantly. It takes time to do all these fucking boxes across all these different time frames. And still, you could even see this too. Bingo. You see? Wow. The thing is, you discover just doing this stuff over and over and over again. Man, you can be in this box for who knows how long. This, you could be in here for what, 32 days? This, we're in here for how long so far? 7 days. After 24 hours, we're good to go here. After this candle, come down to that 2 hour. Mm-hmm. Close the buff here. Mm-hmm. Still got to set those levels. you go. Okay, looks like we're going to reach our first target here. So this is where now in this context, I move the stop loss. I move my stop loss to my closer. You know what I'm saying? Like when you get the first target, you move the stop. That would be the idea. And I just imagine doing that as an extra process now too. This is the bigger setup on that 4 hour. Yeah, we're going down. Very likely it is. Was what I see right here. Mm-hmm. You know, just 6 days in this range. Yeah, you're eventually gonna move out of the box. Right. I want to think about the extremes as much as possible. So again, in order for me to get that, I need to think a slightly higher time frame then. Hmm. And in my case, like if I'm actually gonna do this legitimately like this, hmm. Well, we're definitely between these time frames then. This is just very obvious. The 1 week, the daily, the 4 hour, 8 hour. This is just very obvious here. I just have to ask myself realistically, how do I feel? How do I feel taking these things? Like, could I trade 100 instruments doing this at this time frame? Probably not. Very likely not. So I got to be really honest with myself here. Got to be really honest. All right. Now we got to really do the work here. Today we have to do a brand operating system GPT, and it's got to be really fast and simple. All right. So I got to get myself set up here. Before you had mentioned the thing about trading for my lifestyle period. Could you please remind me of the time frames once again? All right, and just out of curiosity, we also had mentioned the thing about if I trade that highest time frame, I would really have to be focused on trading lots of instruments. So looking at different instruments constantly, but I would only need to do it once a day. Period. Is it possible to find enough instruments to trade so that we can hit that 25 trades per week quota? Question mark. could have also said here too, you know. Okay, now the next question that we got to ask ourselves, because I've been doing some of these trades and I've been seeing that, yes, it's incredibly possible to go 1:2 RRR. And if I have enough instruments, very likely I could hit 25 trades a week, comma, but does the frequency really matter if I position size correctly? Question mark. What does the book say? Question mark. I'm referring to the Definitive Guide to Position Sizing and the other books by Tharp. All right, so that's pretty much it for me at this stage. I'm going to be thinking higher time frames for sure. Okay. So we got to get rid of this one as well. So same thing here. Same thing here. In reality, that would be a huge hit to a bigger account. You don't do that. And here we go. It would very likely have to be then that we do this on the higher time frames, like this 21-day box. Yeah. I would imagine. And then I just have to ask myself, am I able to scan through? Scan, you know? Got to be able to scan enough of these markets over and 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 over again. Okay. I don't know if this is going to sound stupid, but I'm going to need you to role play with me here and really help me paint a picture of life. Because if I'm going to be committing to a specific style of trading, I'm going to be doing this for possibly the rest of my life. So these are the time frames I'm considering. Now, in order to successfully do this, because I've obviously read through the book and I've gone through the material several times now. And I understand as well that Van is basically emphasizing frequency is very important, amongst other factors for position sizing to meet a trader's trading objectives. And again, my trading objectives are to become a billionaire from trading and to grow that account from a small account to a big account, or even if I have to trade prop firms, it doesn't matter. But the idea still remains the same, okay? And it's still going to be me having to trade consistently week in and week out until I achieve that objective, period. So I could either trade a very small basket of instruments and trade at the lower time frames, or I could trade a large basket of instruments at the higher time frames, period. What I know about the markets, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I know is that when it comes to trading the markets, especially with artificial intelligence advancing, I would imagine many institutions using AI to augment traders, period. And so I also know too that at the highest of the time frames, I think it would be less technical and more fundamental. Correct me if I'm wrong, period. But I would imagine that at the lower time frames, it would be highly technical, less fundamental. The higher time frames would be more fundamental and less technical. But for me, I would prefer to have like a 50-50 where I know where I'm going to exit. And I also know, the macroeconomic drivers and all that stuff like this, period. And if I think about my life right now, like if I had already talked to Hema about how to get in and out of the markets, our schedule now that we have our second kid with us, and I'm also creating content, and doing all this stuff, how would I realistically fit this in, period. Now, I've thought about this, and I've thought to myself, okay, if HEMMA is giving me from 7 to 11 to do the trading stuff and deep work or whatever, it's already 10:17 a.m. right now, period. So could I realistically do something with my life where that middle time frame that we had talked about is a time frame where whenever there's a close, I basically look at the alert, or I set alerts, and then I take that trade. So if, for example, we had a 4-hour, 1-hour, 15-minute time frame, and the 1 hour time frame closes with strong volume and it meets my criteria for entry, I'd set a stop limit to take that trade, period. My question, though, is if that is the case, if that is true, then if that's the case, how is that going to work with me setting alerts every hour, or having the alerts going and then every hour I take a trade? Potentially, right? Which means every hour I could potentially be hearing an alert, going to the computer, and then putting in the numbers, whatever, setting the orders, and then walking away. Because I'm not going to obviously take a order to market. I'm just going to literally see the signal, set the stop order, and then set the stop loss and the take profit, and then move on. Period. So the way that I see it is that it can either go on the hour, 2 hour, 4 hour, remember all the time frames that I mentioned before in this message. That's the difference, right? So that middle time frame is the entry time frame, and the lower time frame would be where I move the stop loss. Period. So it'll be just for the purposes of me moving my stop loss. And as the Van Tharp books say, comma, I should always be thinking to risk 1 R or less per position, which then tells me that I need to be thinking about moving my stop loss as close to my entry as possible then on every single trade to avoid ruin, unless I'm wrong in that thinking. Period. So if you're saying, can we find 200 instruments that are least correlated? I don't know. Period. That's why I would need your help, right? And that's why I would need AI to help me with this stuff, because I would need to be able to understand the big picture assessment, just like Van Tharp had suggested as part of my how am I going to monitor the big picture, and then make sure that I'm constantly scanning the basket of instruments every single whatever time period it is. Period. So I need you to really audit my thinking here and help me really be realistic in how that's going to work and thinking, because this is not just a short-term thing. This is a very long-term thing. And the sooner I make this decision, the sooner I lock this in, the better. So that way I can really go through the motions and go through the practice of scanning the basket of instruments, like if you look at the screenshot, I've got these instruments already that you suggested, comma, but if we're trading much higher time frames, like the 1 week, comma, the 1 day, comma, the 4 hour, comma, then we're going to need a massive amount of instruments just to find the supreme A+ setup instruments. And what I think I would do is I would have you help me do a big picture assessment every week. And then you can tell me out of the basket of instruments, which ones should I be looking at or whatever. Or maybe I do it the other way where I look at the technicals and I send you screenshots, and then you tell me the possible movements for those instruments. Period. I don't know. But either which way, if we're going to be incorporating the Van Tharp model for trading, that means that we're going to have to include the big picture assessment. So that's just another thing that has to get done for trading. You get what I'm saying? Period. So how am I going to manage all of that with also being a father to 2 kids and, you know, creating content and everything like this? period. So I need to be very realistic here about what is possible. And I need to think about this very carefully. So I need you to walk me through realistically, like, hey, what would life be like at every time frame set that I have given you? Period. So we need to really, really think very clearly here and very logistical about what's going to work, because I'm all for trading the highest time frame set that I gave you, comma. But as you mentioned, are these non-correlated instruments, and do these non-correlated instruments give me everything that I need to take the trade for the A plus setup? Period. So I really need to think about this, and I need you to really paint the picture of my life at every one of those 4 time frames and what day-to-day life would be like every single day from now till the day I die. Period. What are my limitations? What are my advantages? What do I have to say yes to? What do I have to say no to in life, basically, in order to achieve the objective? Does that make sense? Question mark? So like if I'm trading the 4-hour comma, the 1-hour comma, the 15-minute comma, what are my advantages here? But also, what do I have to give up in exchange to achieve the objective? Question mark. What do my days look like? And also, what do my weeks and my months and my years look like? Question mark. Am I capped at being a full-time trader and only trading? Etc., etc., etc. And also, what does that look like for family life? What does it look like for my purpose? What does it look like for what I'm trying to accomplish, you know? These are all things that we have to consider. And also my health and well-being. I think that's a fairly honest assessment of myself here. I think that's a fairly honest assessment. What does life look like at every time frame? Okay, there you go. Man, am I willing to do that, right? Got to ask myself that question. All right, what system fits me? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I would imagine. After at night, after the kids are asleep, then I trade. I scan the big picture wish list, watch list, instruments near the weekly levels, daily candles that just closed, volume condition, correlation bucket. Then I go to bed. Right, exactly. Exactly. I'm trading during lunch, right? Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Once per week, probably weekend or Sunday. Big picture assessment, macro calendar, market types. Right. Daily close scan. Right. Right. Yep. That's what I would have to say. Yes. Yep. Larger instrument universe. Right. More prep. Weekly planning, daily discipline. Right. Fewer emotional decision, longer hold times. Yep. Mm-hmm. Better family compatibility. Right. Intraday dopamine. Right. Constant alerts, over trading, scalping, staring at charts. Random market orders. I need action now. Trading every small move. Right. Best lifestyle fit. Best family fit. Best sleep focus structure. Scan is less false brick noise and lower time frames. Easier to combine technical and fundamental context. More scalable long term. Easier to automate later. Right. Lower mistake frequency. Better for content, business life. Requires many instruments, fewer trades per instruments. Right. Slower feedback loop. Right. Longer trade holds. Daily close time affects sleep. You need strong scanning discipline. Correlation management becomes critical. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Your life is organized around 4-hour candles. Depending on every broker, that may mean checking London, session, late evenings. You'll need alerts, helping with kids, and then alert fires. Now you have to decide. Right. What your week looks like. You get more trades than the daily stack. You probably don't need 200 instruments, right? Your mental context switches, right? Oof. You may feel more involved with the market, right? Good for learning back for emotional control, which you say yes to. More alerts, more journal entries, chart interaction, fully calm, right? Better frequency, less noise than the 15-minute, easier to reach, 25, right? Strong candidate. Okay, right. This one sounds clean mathematically, but practically it may be awkward. Become annoying. It's not as slow as the 4-hour, not as clean as the daily, not as fast as the 1 hour. You may get throughout the day, but with the clear simplicity of a major session, not slow enough to be peaceful, not fast enough to feel efficient. You'll probably get decent frequency, but operational friction. What you say no to, what you say yes to, moderate frequency, technical execution, more responsiveness, more opportunities in the daily. What you say no to, clean, once per day scanning, higher time frame simplicity, fully predictable daily routine, more trades in the daily, less noisy than 15, operationally awkward. This is the active trader life. Every hour can matter. Every alert can pull your attention. You may be in father mode and suddenly become trader. Maybe recording content, didn't have to check a candle. Maybe with him and the kids and feel your phone buzz. Oh shit, yeah. Okay. Right. Right. Can we find 200? Okay. Right. That's one USD short theme. Right. Okay. So themes. Themes. Okay. Reduce the risk, only one. Right. 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 Okay. Highest expectancy you can execute with the lowest mistake rate for years. Right. If you choose 4 hour, you're saying yes to more trades, yes to more interruptions, alerts, emotional exposure. If you choose 1 week daily, okay. Choose 1 week daily as a. Okay. Let's touch on this for a moment because you hit on something very important. So, are we saying that in order to achieve, honestly, the billionaire objective answer and actually do it, comma, Do I need to hit all 10 of these points or some combination of these points? Question mark. Strong expectancy, enough opportunity, position sizing, low mistakes, compounding. Give me a TLDR answer here, but I need you to audit all of the Van Tharp books and tell me here if this guy is like, what are the 6 keys to trading and which book did that come from? And also I need you to look at the book, the Trading Beyond the Matrix, where the traders are like being interviewed and they're talking about like reducing their mistakes. And I also need you to highlight here, like, if the whole thing is to reduce my mistakes, to improve my trading, then clearly I would not want to trade lower time frames. I would want to have a very dedicated time once per day to trade and just make that fit my lifestyle. So that way I reduce my mistakes. And then also I need you to highlight too what they were saying in the book with the illustrations about the traders that were like out of a 5-day period, how many trades were they taking? And did they ever specify like how many traders were actually trading the markets and how many traders each took trades in that given 5-day period for their positive expectancy? Question mark. Break. I need you to audit the screenshot, period. If this is the daily time frame close candlestick that's currently waiting to close, comma, I need you to look at the timestamp in the bottom right of the screenshot, and then also look at the right column that has like all the numbers and the price levels, and look at the candle time frame remaining hours till close, and tell me when are we expecting this 1 day time frame to close, period. Tell me also the current time remaining from that screenshot. That is wrong, period. Closes at fucking 11 p.m. at night. Still inaccurate, period. It closes in 12 hours from now, which means that it's going to close at 11 p.m. Okay. 132.5R. That's fucking crazy. Okay, now the next question for me is to ask about how am I going to get to that space where, let's say if I'm trading much higher size, right? Let's say we do grow, we figure it out from the 1 week, the daily, comma, the 4 hour as my main trading time frames for the rest of my life, hypothetically, or until I build the AI trading OS GPT version that can take the trades for me at the lower time frames, period. If I'm trading it myself, and this is the best that I can do right now, Van Tharp says something about R multiple find and research what book he says that on and what page, because he says something along those lines, period. The other thing too is if I am trading those 3 time frames that we mentioned, the highest time frames to match my lifestyle, and we're trading, once a day, we're looking at the charts once a day, and I have this night routine set up or whatever. Does this or whatever, comma, does this daily time frame allow me to trade significantly higher sizes? Like if I'm setting a stop order at the daily time frame, comma, can I go in with 5% of a billion? You get what I'm saying? Question mark? Yeah, because we also established too that it's not just can I get 100 trades a month? No, it's out of a specific sample size, can I get that much, right? And if I'm also trading the higher time frames, can I get 30 as my sample size, So it's not exactly 100. It's a large enough sample for that time frame. Yeah, you never know the true R multiple distribution. You only ever have a sample. He says market trading is not like a marble bag where you know the exact population, probability, and payoff. In real markets, you do not know the exact probability of winning, losing, or the exact size of wins, losses. Historical and live trading only give you a sample of what to expect. You can understand the qualities of the R multiple, but you probably can never be exact. But you cannot ever say, I know the true expectancy forever, right? Based on my current sample, this system has an estimated expectancy, estimated SQN, estimated drawdown profile, and estimated opportunity rate. Then you keep updating it with rolling 100 trade samples. About 5% of 1 billion is 50 million. That is not large. That is institutional scale risk. The daily time frame helps because wider stops usually mean smaller position size for the same dollar risk compared with 15-minute entry. So yes, but can you just place one daily stop order? No, not casually. Probably not enough through a normal retail CFD setup. Even with a daily stop, 50 million risk can imply massive notional exposure. If your stop is 100 pips, Tharp says larger than 1R can happen from not exiting gaps. Okay. So at 1 billion, a planned 5% risk would become planned 1R, 50 million slippage, right? Extreme or worse, 150. That's why 5% of a billion on one trade is not a normal click the order decision. For a current phase, for future capacity, the path changes a small size, prove the edge. 6 figures, 7 figures, at 9, 10 figures. Institutional execution, multiple brokers, venues, staged orders, lower risk per trade, portfolio level heat controls, final mentor. Right. As account size grows, risk percentage must usually shrink. At $500, aggressive sizing may be a survival growth. Experiment at $1 billion is no longer bold. It's potentially institutional ending. If the worst true R case, risk comes before return. Okay, so at this point, what am I thinking here? That's where we got to ask ourselves here. At this point, what are we thinking? You know? We just came out of here bullish, very strong, but not enough supporting volume. Right, this is just probably liquidation candle or some shit. I don't know. All right, so it probably would be. Also, there's another thing too now where I remember Van Tharp saying something about like if it's a smaller time frame, comma, you probably want a large sample size like 100 or even more. And then he went on to have like examples of like the position sizing, the 5-step market money model where you have the sample size of 1,000 trades and what the return would be on 1,000 trades, period. But then he also says something about like if you're swing trading higher time frames, you might have 30 and that might be your sample size, period. So if I'm going to be trading this highest time frame, comma, what's my sample size? Shit. There goes the day. All right, let's go. We got to create a trading OSGPT. Right. For your 1 week, daily 4 hour, your minimum sample is 30 trades. Are usable, much stronger, obviously. All right, let's go now here to the personal brand. Okay. Oh, here we go. I need to create a brand OS GPT, which is basically going to be my own version of you, period. I know that your creator, whoever created your GPT, did so in such a way that it was specific to their viral content strategy, period. What I'm looking for, though, is to have a brand OS GPT that basically is going to take my brand compass and my keywords and like who I'm going for and what I'm trying to target, have it all on one page, and then upload that to the GPT so that I can then take that information and then that GPT can create content for me. Basically, I need to create a content GPT, but as my entire brand OS GPT. I don't know if that makes any sense. The content GPT is basically going to help me create scripts at scale based on my intended topic, period. How are we going to do this? Meaning you, question mark. I'm thinking to have basically for ChatGPT a GPT that has one main file as like the knowledge file, and I have like different prompts uploaded, but I want that one page SSOT file to basically have like the consolidated information for me. And I want it as a template. So that way I can create this as a template for scalability for future people that may want to use this brand operating system GPT, period. And then they can program it themselves. Okay, so what I need for you to do for me then is I need you to tell me what's the very first thing that we create. Because I already have a brand OS compass, period. But what I need is like the instruction set. And that's going to be like the SSOT file, basically. And I'm going to upload separately the brand OS compass from my personal brand. Does that make sense? Okay, let's see where we can put this here. Oh, hey. Manoj Darapu. Sorry I missed you. At Manoj Gadarapu. Mano Gadarapu. Man, shout out to everyone that is subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Yes, that makes sense. The very first thing is create the master OS, not the brand compass. Your brand compass is the brand data, but the instruction set is the operating system. That tells the GPT how to what rules, instructions should be custom. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think this is kind of like useless, period. Basically, what I'm asking you to do is I need you to extract the most important information that the person that programmed you to create scripts the way that you did is the same way that I'm going to do, but for my specific purposes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have different content formats, period. So I just basically need your core details so that I can copy that. Okay, cool. Okay, done. Now let's put this into here somewhere and let's go into and we're gonna need this. We're gonna need this. We're gonna need about me, what I want to be known for, no brand hub, no brand voice, brand assets, social media, studio gear, no, brand assets, I would imagine something like this. Okay. We need maintenance, version 1. I don't know. Whatever. All right. So I got to think about this here. If I'm going to create a GPT, what would I need to do? This is going to have to be it for today because I got to spend time with my son here. I choose to spend time